Usually with someone like Yellow Flash, I'm fairly critical. He did a tweet as well as a video over X-Men possibly being political, and he was rightly pummeled for being just a complete moron. So on many issues, he's not very reliable. But I'm not dogmatic. If somebody actually knows what they're talking about, even if I don't share their politics or don't get along with them, I will say, okay, that person made a good point and has brought out something valuable. So Flash has made an interesting discovery with the CW. He goes a little bit wrong when he stretches it to Warner Brothers, but in terms of the CW, I think he's onto something. So essentially, it turns out that the actresses seem to have policy where they're being forced to keep their clothes on, yet why this is so is unclear. So we're going to hear him speak and react.
I'm not allowed to show my midriff on TV anymore. I think this is the first time someone's come out and outright confirmed what a lot of us have suspected, that women have they're not allowed to show very much skin in TV anymore. How is that progressive? You see the same thing with Cowboy Bebop. There was a whole controversy, if you didn't know, about Faye Valentine and how they've pretty much covered her from head to toe. Okay? I mean, they took a femme fatale who was pretty, revealing in her costume, which was a part of that character, and they put a jacket on her and all kind of clothing. And then, of course, they played with her identity and all that stuff that goes on and on and on. I've made plenty of videos on it. But it's a double standard. I guarantee you on the...
Well, it's a minor point, but it is a good one, and it is a solid one. If you're a little bit unfamiliar, the old CW was called WB, and there were a couple of shows that did have kind of a superhero slant, like Birds of Prey, Smallville, things like that. But then it transformed to the CW and became much more melodramatic. They did do more superhero shows, but to me, they became more and more sentimental and silly. Really, I only stuck along with Smallville. Once Smallville ended, I did see a couple of Supergirl episodes, but basically stopped watching. So he does have a good point, because with Smallville, we had Kara as well as Lana, and I would agree they were a little over-sexualized, but technically Kara wears a skirt, yes, but she didn't really show off too much of her body. And the skirt is usually a long one, but they've changed it over time. And there have been modifications to the costume. So he has a generally valid point, but you gotta be careful. They did switch a few things in Smallville. They did add a lot of intense sex scenes, which technically are not part of the characters, but I don't think went too far. So what is this all about? Well, I would assume here this is a Geoff Johns Berlanti issue in terms of public relations. For those totally new, Geoff basically headed up Justice League 2006, headed up Justice League 2017, and Geoff headed up basically Justice League under Joss Whedon, and that contains a very controversial sequence where Wonder Woman is basically lying down with the Flash on top of her, and it appears that it was done by a body double, so Gal Gadot did not want to do the scene, but quote, Wonder Woman is in this scene. So I would imagine they're trying to quote, look good by saying, see, we are not focusing on women's bodies in terms of female characters, and trying to appear falsely better than they are in terms of their record. Again, we still don't know entirely what happened, but I don't agree with the late Yellow Flash to say that Cowboy Bebop, oh, they're just covering up these women. You gotta be careful. Let's not exaggerate. But is this hypocrisy? Yes. I saw Kara with quote unquote exposing a lot of skin. I still think the character was well performed. Again, it still stayed within the boundaries of Superman. I thought it was fairly reasonable what they did with Smallville, so it's nothing too racy, but you did get to quote unquote see some things. This new policy, It's definitely weird. It doesn't align with what they've done before. So I'd imagine this is Geoff Johns trying to look good before the cameras and trying to make up for the past record. But I don't see how, again, more censorship is good for anybody. So it definitely feels weird. So again, good on Yellow Flash for catching out the hypocrisy. Yeah, this part mostly solid. I think he goes a little overboard as always, but yeah, he's definitely shown a clear double standard, and they should be rightly called out for it. Good on him. I agree with him insofar as, yeah, there is definitely a weird double standard occurring.